I'm not taking over that floor, yeah.
Like me, you get
They're probably been there since.
The thing is, Tim, I got no brain, so. I'm taking on, yeah.
I know, all right.
All right. Call me over. All stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Meeting called to order today, and the following roll call, we have Mayor Luma,
Here.
Ball, Walty,
Here.
Hudson,
Yeah.
Miller,
Yeah.
Nichols.
Yes.
All right. Before we're going farther, get the book out of you. We're going, people who don't know, this is Vern Fox. He's our new council member. Great. So we want to swear him in. You could raise your right arm, you can read after me. I, Vern Fox,
I, Vern Fox,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
and the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
and faithfully and honestly and impartially
and faithfully and honestly and impartially
discharge the duties of the office
discharge the duties of the office
of village council
of the village council
of the village of Waynesfield
of the village of Waynesfield
and Always County.
and Always County.
We just need to. Right there. Thank you. All right. Minutes of previous meeting were read and approved. So approved. Okay, fiscal officer report.
This officer reports $1,559,669.62 in all of the funds. And in the general fund, we have $219,680.90.
All right. Bills were read. A motion was made by. So moved. Seconded by.
Second.
Ball,
Yes.
Walty,
Yes.
Hudson,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Falk,
Yes.
Nichols.
Yes.
Okay. Now to guess. Jennifer, what you do first?
Oh, okay. I don't need to stand there.
You don't.
Good. Okay. So I'm here representing the Lions Club. We want to have another pediatric cancer research walk, October 14th, probably like 9 to noon. And we were just asking that the village would waive the $50 application fee, which you did last year. And that's basically what I'm asking. And we're using the gazebo, we're just handing out water. I think last year we maybe had 17 walkers, so it won't be a huge group.
Good to use the bike path.
Yes,
I make a motion, we waive the $50 fee, but that the Lions Club still has to make the application.
oh, we did.
Okay, very good.
I have it right here.
Okay.
Clean up?
Yeah, they would.
Oh, we would clean up if there is any, but it was cold last year.
Do we?
So we did stay around.
Go ahead.
Well, go ahead and second.
I'll second it.
Okay. Now I have a question. I probably should ask before. Do we have to have employees there, Aaron?
I don't believe so.
He's trying to
get
it
prior
Thank
to and for,
They did unlock the restrooms for us last year,
what's the date of it?
Saturday, October 14th.
Yeah, well, unless the weather crazy changes, we'll be open until about November.
Like I said, I think we'll be out of there by noon.
Motion on the floor.
Ball,
Yes.
Walty,
Yes.
Hudson,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Falk,
Yes.
Yes.
And one additional thing, I hung a poster out here. I'm collecting aluminum cans to also go to the pediatric cancer research. You can drop your cans off at my house if you still drink products out of aluminum, or bring them to the festival. That's the last day. And of course, every penny that we make goes to pediatric cancer research. I'm not sure which organizations will be going to right now, but that's a pet project of mine.
I wonder if there's a way for you to put something at the recycle place, because most people just throw it away.
Oh, I never thought about that. That's a great idea. I'll have
But
to
have
ask
it
them.
definitely marked so they know what to put in and why, and
Well, I'm going to the recycling center tomorrow to get some items for the festival about recycling, because I'm big on recycling, so they let me.
too, but I'm worried about our plastics because.
But I don't know if the recycling center would allow that.
No, I meant at our place.
Well, that's what I meant.
Yeah,
All these
Yeah.
guys got that. See, before you had to separate the tin, but now it's aluminum, everything's together now.
You might ask, to be honest with you, it wouldn't hurt to ask them if the donations that are made by Waynesfield could be given back to the Lions Club.
That's my point.
You just ask, all they can say is no,
Yeah.
right? You can ask.
Years ago, we used to have organizations that did that,
Yeah.
and they got the money.
Right.
Who was collected on I'm sorry.
You might ask them. It's worth the ask.
I know our student council.
Do they have that, does she have that permission from us to ask?
I don't think so. I don't know.
I don't know, maybe
I
that,
don't,
maybe that is something the village should speak for the village. I don't know.
You gotta sign it.
You know what, I'll present this question to them, it's a great
present the
idea.
question, and if they say yes, then
Because that's the only recyclable when you get money for it anymore, right?
They could always call me.
would it make sense for us to say we would support it if that would happen? Yeah, so maybe we make a motion that we would support any monies from the recycling center for whatever, a month or whatever.
Yeah, it would only have
Would
to
go
be for a
to
month.
the pediatrics fund through the Lions Club, the Lions Club, I don't know. Jeff, do you have any recommendations on what we should be doing?
Making a motion I've never heard. So if you guys have questions on it, make a motion.
Did you have dates that,
I've just been
or
asking
just continue?
for this, no, I'm going to stop at the festival, September 9th.
Aaron, go on.
It's now until,
Yeah, that's
They're here
it.
once a week, but I don't know which ones they grab once a week.
They grab one once a week.
Yeah, I don't know. It depends on how full it is.
I guess for whatever amount they would allow you, because if they would allow you to say from now until October, God, that'd be great.
That
And
would
if
be
they
awesome.
said for a month, that would be great, you know? So whatever time frame they would allow you to do that for.
That leads to a lot
Do we
of
get any money
possibilities for
back
a lot
from
of
that?
charitable things.
It's just a service they.
I know some of your roll-off places will donate a roll-off, if you could set it somewhere, and, they'll donate the roll-off, so you can put all your aluminum cans in that, and then they'll pick it up and deliver it to a recycle place.
Well, I'll look into it. If it's too late for this year, maybe next year.
Sure.
But that would be something that
Get
the
a hold of
angel trees and all of them could benefit from.
Get a hold of Allen County Recycling, because they do that. They have the roll-offs and stuff, and they got the recycling place right on there.
Mhm.
So I would make a motion that if the Always Recycling Center would allow the Lions Club to benefit from a period of time for the aluminum recycling that the Village of Waynesfield generates, that money be allowed to go to the Lions Club to benefit the Children's Cancer Research
Do
Fund.
they separate that? Do you know how much cardboard, how much aluminum?
It would just be the aluminum, yeah. Okay, so that's, I don't know, Sarah, can you do something with that, even if you don't agree?
I'm trying.
I know.
And I don't know how difficult it will be for them to separate it.
They may say no. All we're doing is saying we would support it if they say yes. So you don't have to come back to us and say,
Okay.
do you support this? You
Sure,
can tell
that's
them
great.
that we support it if it's allowed.
and if they would supply a different container. That would make it.
Well,
If
no,
she goes to ACR, they could just send it out to the Lions Club. That way, our recycling wouldn't have anything to do with it.
That's true too, but I
We'll
still.
just bring-
Yeah, but if everybody takes the recycling there, they may not want to make an extra trip out.
And I don't think it'll be known for everybody, so I think it'd be a benefit if come out and use it.
Wouldn't stop her
But
from
weren't
doing
you
both.
talking,
Right.
Mr. Fox, weren't you talking about Allen County providing another receptacle?
Yeah, I'm not sure if they still do it, but before, if it was going to like a children's research or, St. Jude's, they would donate a box to sit out there to fill up.
But we are all Blaze County.
Doesn't matter.
Right.
Oh,
So
there you
Allen-
go.
I have
Oh,
Allen County
okay.
boxes down at my house all the time, so.
Mhm, yeah, okay.
Yeah, they'll deliver it out there and everything, and then they'll just pick it up when you're done, doing your proceeds.
So are we gonna say just the month of September, or?
So whatever timeframe they would allow, the motion said. So I need a second.
I'll say that motion. You're gonna recycle the well,
I will find out everything I
Okay.
need to know, and if I can do it, I'll let you guys know. And I would say through the month of September.
Whatever timeframe they'll let you do it for. They'll let you do it for 2 or 3 months.
Well,
I
there
mean,
might
we
be
don't
other
benefit
groups that
from
want
it.
to
If the kids can
contribute some of that
benefit
money.
from it, that'd be great.
Okay, all right.
We need a vote.
Yeah.
Ball,
Yes.
Walty,
Yes.
Hudson,
Yes.
Miller,
yes.
Fox,
Yes.
Yes.
I appreciate all the good ideas.
We
We'll be all right if
appreciate
I
the work.
leave now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Survive
You
cancer.
need that much
The research is important.
All right, I'll let you know what I find out.
Okay.
I really appreciate all the input. They're good ideas.
Let me know if you have any problems, if so, I'll call Jeremy Wright at ACR for you,
Oh, okay.
see what I can do.
All right, thank you.
See you, Jennifer. Thanks.
Thanks.
All right, Sam.
Good evening, Village of Waynesfield County. I'm here to open up a dialogue about an amphitheater. I think it would be good for the community. It could be used for concerts, school concerts, community movie nights, and other activities. It could be rented out as a wedding venue or to the local bands. Funds can come from concession stand sales and from renters who use the amphitheater. It can be built on land owned by the village already. And we would also need parking for vehicles and or golf carts. Size is to be determined by what it will be used for. The village can have fundraisers and or apply for a grant from the National Works Grant Program.
Cool. I like your idea.
Do you have a specific spot in mind?
No.
Okay.
Nathan, how would that play into the plans that you currently have through your committee?
Yeah, I mean, it certainly can be discussed. All comes down to dollars and cents, of course, but, yeah, I mean, that can be, fit into what we present at the Parks Committee. If the Parks Committee wants to explore that further, it'd be my recommendation to send that issue to the Parks Committee, after we meet, I'll get to that in my report, but we're gonna meet with the representative on Wednesday and have a little bit more
What was
clarification.
the grant organization, you had it on your little.
The National Works Grant Program.
Actually, yeah, I think it's the Nature Works program.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nature Works?
yeah, the village has received that grant in the past.
Okay, that's great, thank you.
And then my second topic, I would like to see Oktoberfest and a village jamboree come back to Waynesfield. I miss the community get-togethers, and it would help build strength in the community. I can remember when I was younger, carrying around the Christmas tree and playing games and riding rides in the middle of town, and other events at the city park. We could raise money by having a raffle and taking donations for these that could not attend. A designated volunteer could go on live on Facebook so they can individually can still be part of the fun.
That was October 5th?
It's an I want the
October Festival.
Oktoberfest, okay, I'm sorry.
What did you say, in a jamboree something?
A village jamboree.
Was that at the same time?
No, it was a different time.
Yeah, I
The
have no.
the
history on
jamboree,
it.
I was actually part of the jamborees when they happened, because I was on the fire department at the time. It's a tremendous amount of work. We had committees that started a year in advance in order to get that all together. And part of the problem, I think, the biggest issue was certainly, as we look at the fire and EMS department now, they barely have enough membership to make the calls that they get. And then the other part of that was the getting the vendors to come in. Community support was there, but to get vendors and have rides and do all of those kinds of things, it was very difficult to get those, because we are a smaller community. I know St. John's Fire Department, I think they still have their festival.
Yeah, they dropped theirs.
Did they drop theirs
Yeah.
too? Okay.
You don't show one around here.
I think Cridersville has a food truck festival that they do. It's just very difficult because it's a tremendous amount of work. I know the Lions Club now has their festival that they have. The jamborees were fun. We had bucket brigades, and Tom, you were in that genre too when we did those. But it was a lot of work.
That was a combined effort of it.
Yeah,
The Lions Club at the time.
Yeah.
And
It was a good time.
there for a while, both organizations were declining in personnel to help out.
Mm-hmm.
We had ball tournaments and everything.
Oh, yeah. It was certainly a family fun time for the community, no doubt. It's just a tremendous amount of work. And, I don't know, Nathan, if that's something your committee wants to, your community development team wants to look at, or?
It has been talked about. We've got some other things we're looking at, but, we talked about doing a community event. It wouldn't necessarily be like the jamboree for the reasons you've already outlined, but, there may be, in the next year or so, maybe longer, there may be a community event, that will present council, in the park and something like that.
Good, these are great ideas. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I love it when the community is coming up with ideas for us.
Committee reports.
Am I the only one here, or where we at?
You're the only one I received.
Okay. The only thing that I think Sarah included our minutes in there, we added, and Jeff, it's in the link that I sent you, we added a section in the proposed zoning that dealt specifically with mobile homes. We did have in the original document that we gave to you last month a statement about mobile homes, but in looking at it further and with some of the issues that have come up, we decided at our last meeting that probably needed to be a little clearer in the document so that residents had a better understanding of what the requirements were. The zoning board and planning commission felt very strongly that trailers, mobile homes, still be prohibited in the village. That was their recommendation moving forward. So that was really the biggest issue. I did send a memo to Mayor Luma, and I don't know, Mr. Williams, if that's what you have in your hand or not, with some questions that came from the zoning board. So,
No, I just got your.
okay, all right. Hopefully we can get those clarified. I didn't put the specific wording in there, it's in the document, so.
I just wanted to chime in real quick. I'm about halfway through the zoning ordinances, editing it. I asked Lisa for the link so I could just make the changes inside. I'll do track changes, leave them on so you can see all of them.
Right.
Most of what I'm finding is when you reference another section number, it's the wrong section number.
I tried to catch all of those because we kept adding them wording, so thank you.
And then there's just a few comments that I will make in there. I know, just off the top, the chain link fence, when you're talking about fencing and restrictions and stuff like that, I know Spencerville had an issue with the residents. Spencerville says 3 feet. The guy has looked into fence companies, and I guess the standard height is now 4 feet.
Okay.
So trying to get, and I don't know if that's true, he came to one of their planning commission meetings and said, can't get 3 feet. You know, no one makes 3 feet anymore. So, I don't know if that's true or not, but he's sitting there saying your ordinance is, you know,
Easy fix.
defunct and stuff like that, so I'll just make comments like that.
You can't get 3-foot fence anymore, it's,
It's
I
4,
believe
6.
it's 4 and 6 and 8.
Yeah, and so we have it as 3 feet and all that, so that caught my attention because of Spencer and some of that, so easy fixes like that.
I think that contained ordinance we took from somebody else, to be honest with you.
Most of it is word for word from New Knoxville, so that's what, I have New Knoxville up and I got yours up, and I'm just kind of going through and comparing the,
If we just deleted some and tweaked some and.
so I'm not finding very many big things that scream out to me, just allows, make sure we reference the proper sections and stuff like that.
I appreciate that, because I tried and I know I missed a bunch.
No, you're fine. Hopefully I'll have that done by next meeting.
Mhm.
Okay. Any other committee reports? All right, police chief.
For the police report tonight, you'll see right off the top, the property maintenance committee updates. I would ask the property maintenance committee, if maybe in the next month we could meet to, talk about a few different issues, and discuss, enforcement, whether or not we want to wait until the new zoning is complete before any enforcement actions taking place, or if we want to continue, because there are a couple fairly major property issues that I'd like to discuss with the property maintenance committee. So, at the end of the meeting tonight, if we can discuss a date that would work, date and time, I would like to do that. And moving on, throughout July, the police department received multiple complaints about a male subject on a four-wheeler driving through town on North Westminster Street, Ohio Street, and East Wapakoneta Street. On July 28th, I was in a brief pursuit with what appeared to be the same male subject on the same four-wheeler. Multiple charges are pending. On August the 2nd, I responded to 310 East Wapakoneta Street in reference to a structure fire. On my arrival, the east end of the house was fully involved in flames, and ultimately the house was a complete loss. There are possible criminal charges being considered, so stay tuned on that. I did meet with the homeowners and renters insurance investigators this past Friday, and they told me that the property will be cleaned up now that they've had a chance to do a site visit. They expect the property to be cleaned of debris within the next couple of weeks. So I've had several people ask about that. So yes, it is coming, but they couldn't release the scene until the insurance investigators had a chance to look at that. So.
Nathan, should they, can we make a suggestion to them that they put some kind of tape around there or something?
So there is caution tape up, but as the wind has blown and things like that, it's come down. For all intents and purposes, other than just climbing on the debris, it's a safe scene now. But the village actually went down and put caution tape up to try to get. I can talk with I've got the insurance adjusters or the insurance investigators' numbers. I can call them and see if it's okay for me to run back down and just reset that tape. So
I just would hate for a kid to get in there.
Yeah, I mean it's
I don't know, the tape's gonna stop them.
right. It's obvious. But when I talked to them on Friday, they said that now that they had a chance, that they'll be able to get dumpsters in and clean it up pretty rapidly. But they couldn't. They had to coordinate between two insurance companies to get that to happen. So this past month, we've been busy with some non-ordinary calls aside from the four-wheeler pursuit and the house fire. We had some weather-related issues, including a 4:15 a.m. tornado warning on July 29th. That storm caused some minor damage in town, and thankfully we did not have a tornado here. We have also had multiple calls with people struggling with mental health issues, and this past weekend, Officer Humes had an OVI case, which is currently pending in the court system. We also had a wind event that was not tornadic. It was a bizarre northeasterly north wind. We had a lot of tree damage here in town and the surrounding area, but thankfully we didn't lose power, so that was a good thing. But
Indian Lake got hit pretty hard.
and the east end of Lima got hit pretty hard as well. So luckily we skated on that one, but we were certainly ready to respond in that event, and then the other calls we were absolutely out on. Back to school, Waynesfield Goshen Schools began the 23-24 school year on Thursday, August the 17th. Staff started trickling back into the school over the past couple of weeks, and their official start date was Monday, August 14th. On the 15th, I had the opportunity to teach the staff with regards to an active threat refresher training and some of the issues we are seeing within the community that they need to be aware of as the new school year starts. We have a full-scale training with the staff members set for the Monday after Thanksgiving that the Sheriff's Office and I are partnering on, but the training I did on the 15th was just a brief overview to get the staff focused on several different safety measures that we currently have in place. Ironically, there was a situation down at the University of North Carolina this afternoon, so the timing of this part of my presentation is fresh. So hopefully, since that's made national news, our staff members will really pay attention to some of the training that we just recently did. WG Open House was also held on the 15th. I think that went well. Students, staff, and adults were welcomed by K-9 Hunter and myself, and most of the kids were excited to get back to school, which was kind of surprising because usually in years past they're not so excited. But this year, for whatever reason, they were pretty excited. First few days of First few days of school have gone well with a new elementary principal and a new high school principal. There's been a bit of an adjustment for everybody, but everything's going well. I've had to make a couple truancy calls already, but those matters were taken care of pretty quickly. The CDT will be meeting with State Representative Susan Manchester later this week. I should have more information to report to council at next month's meeting. We have not met since I last reported on the CDT happenings in
Nathan, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Back up to school. Who's the new elementary principal?
Yeah, her name is Julie Clooney. She, I believe, was born and raised in the Minster area.
Okay.
So
she
was a teacher for 20 years prior to taking this position. So she's pretty solid. I hope we can keep her.
All right, thank you.
Pretty good.
Yeah, I met her at Saturday when you passed out the school packs.
Yeah.
She's a nice lady. She's a really nice lady.
Yeah, she's very organized and she's doing well, doing very well. The 2024 Eclipse meeting update. I was part of the Law Enforcement and Logistics Planning Committee for the upcoming Eclipse on April 4th, 2024. As it stands right now, there will be limited law enforcement on the east end of the county. It is expected that the most concentrated area will be at the I-75 US 33 interchange. As such, most of the law enforcement will be there. The expectation is that most places will have designated viewing locations and there will be few issues in those areas. However, the big concern is people coming to a sudden stop on the roadways and blocking traffic or creating crashes. So we'll meet again next month and discuss dedicated emergency routes that will be used throughout the county for police, fire, and EMS if there's an incident. The final piece I have for you tonight is something that some of the office staff asked if we could prepare to help new residents coming into the village. Oftentimes residents move in and they have similar questions like when is the utility bill due, or what utilities are on the utility bill, or what local trash, internet, and propane company is often used. And actually we just had that happen today with a family that just moved in. A new resident started asking questions about the common propane provider's trash service and if he could pay the utility bill online, as well as some other general information. So to help with that, with the help of Aaron, Bina, and Sarah, we've created a Welcome to Waynesfield packet. Before publishing it on our website, social media sites, and having printed copies, we wanted to give council and the mayor the opportunity to review the packet and offer any changes if needed. Once approved, we would like to put this out to help new residents, or maybe even residents that didn't realize some of what the village has to offer. If council doesn't feel like this is a good idea, of course we can scrap it, but we're just trying to assist the public with typical questions they have when they move into our community. If we do implement this, the copies will be in color and will be updated as needed. So as you can see in your packet, the current committees are, we'll have to update that. I don't believe that we need an ordinance or a resolution for this. We just more wanted council to know, so if you have any general questions, or if you get any questions about Waynesfield, you know that this packet's available. I also did not ask the solicitor to review the document because everything in this packet is already an established procedure, or is the information available on the internet. We just put it all in one place.
Kind of resurrected the old welcome wagon.
Yeah. Yeah.
Moved it down, the ladies met it in front of it.
Right.
I think it's a good idea.
Nathan, the only thing that I would suggest is on the utility information one, since we're quoting actual fees, you may want to put effective date on it so that if there's a change, it's page 4 of your document. You're talking about a reconnect fee of $30 and some of those things. I'm just wondering if we should have some kind of date on this document And so that if we change it, we want to make sure,
Sure.
you know what I'm saying?
I intended to put a date on the front page of the packet, that way I had it, I actually had a note for that way, whenever the committees change, then the whole document will have a new date, new effective date, yeah.
And then the other thing, on page 5, online utility payments, had a really cool boss who refused to allow us to use abbreviations, simply because his comment as president of college was, there are some people who won't know what those mean. So on page 5, you have via an ACH, or electronic funds transfer, and then ACH/EFT. I don't know what those are, maybe I'm just not in the know, but
Sure.
maybe we should just spell those out and then put that.
Our people with banking knowledge suggested that, so I know EFT is electronic funds transfer, but
yeah.
ACH, I don't know, that's a check, I think. I don't really know.
Automatic check maybe, or if we can
Yeah, spell it out and then.
spell it out, just so that
Sure.
it's not confusing.
Sure.
And then on the village council, 5, 6, 7, 8 pages back.
Yeah, the pages will be numbered too, that was another thing that I wanted to add.
One of the things that Jeff had said early on when I became a council member was to encourage people to come to committee meetings, and where you have, the public has the ability to communicate with council members. One example is attending regular meetings. I think we should talk about committee meetings for them to attend, because some of those do have standing meeting dates now.
Sure.
And they can actually, they're not limited on the amount of time they're able to interact with council people.
Sure.
So maybe that might be a good addition there, as a suggestion. And then, and I don't know, this is a silly thing, but since we are talking about fees, that may be there, and I know you're going to try to keep it updated, do we need a statement on there that's subject to change? That any fees mentioned anywhere, just a general statement somewhere,
Sure.
that any fees noted in the document may be subject to change at any time.
Which is frustrating in a sense, because
So-
you wonder, are they gonna be, is it gonna be different than what I'm looking at right now?
But
But I understand the principle.
And then specifically on the shelter house, when I read your comments about, thinking about the eclipse, and we had talked about previously at a council meeting about the availability of the park during the eclipse, and were we gonna charge more during that time frame? I don't know if we need to make some kind of statement specifically in there that special events, if we, and this is a question for all of council, not just Nathan. When there's a special event like the eclipse, are we only going to charge $50 or are we going to raise our fee?
I think that should probably be a good question to start with the park committee.
Okay.
Have the park committee entertain that and then decide, because I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Jeff, you'll probably have to pass legislation to do that. And then once that's passed, certainly, we can put a line in there that says special, special events or X, whatever you decide. And what I'll do is I'll just put in the footer on the applicable pages, about the fees being subject to change.
And finally, then, the document that provides recommendations for garbage collector, I think in really large letters somewhere, we should say we are not in any way advertising, something that is.
Well, it clearly says in the first paragraph, the village of Waynesfield does not endorse or recommend any particular company, and this list may not be all-inclusive as provided.
Bold it.
Yeah, we make it red and bold.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I'm gonna make it color, I didn't wanna make this version colored for just sample, but it will be a color document when it's.
I think we need to bold that and just so we don't have any bold.
Speaking of refuge, are we still considering having one company do our, garbage pickup? Are we still considering that? We had talked about it.
What's in there?
I'd like to see it happen.
So how do we go about doing that?
That'll be the utilities commission. Maybe would do that.
You have to say it louder.
Utilities committee will look into that.
Okay. think I'm on that committee.
Also on the propane company, you want to list CNC propane also?
Yeah, I can. I mean, truthfully, we could have a list of about
Okay.
27 pages,
All right.
but, yeah, I mean, I can add that on, but again, that's why I said this list may not be all inclusive.
Their phone number is 419
Uh-huh,
738
uh-huh,
8265.
okay.
I think this is a good idea.
That's a lot of work and it's gonna
Yeah, like I said, it was ironic that this was
Thanks,
being
Sarah,
presented.
for working on this.
It's ironic that we're
Tina?
presenting it tonight because, like I said, we just had a guy who moved in and had a lot of these questions, and I said, after we get this approved, come back and see me and I'll give you a packet.
Did you have some of these that were already made up and just put in, or?
I made them for your packet. They're not made up for the public yet.
No, what I meant was, you didn't like start from scratch, you were pulling stuff that was already, like the bill and.
Correct. The bill, I took a sample bill and we wiped out all the, I took actually my own bill, I think, and wiped
Like,
out my
did you
name.
do this one?
Yes,
by yourself?
yeah.
Anything else there, or her, Nate? Okay, village administrators report.
Okay, well, we'll go and hit some highlights on the package you guys have in front of you. We want to set something up with Versailles about meeting with them to go over to their substation on those transformers they're going to donate to us. First step is getting the paperwork done. Their council signed off, and they're good to do the intergovernmental swap with us for those. Just a matter of getting things slowed down with the project in town, getting over there, looking at it, seeing what it's all going to entail, and then start getting some prices to see once on the rigging how to get things moved from there to here, and then have a spot here to set them until the substation upgrade comes. I have an email out to AMP about if there's any update from that, and there has not been yet. So that's kind of where we're sitting with the substation and the transformer. We've had 3 instances in the last 12 months. Almost all were accidents, nothing malicious by any means. But with those happening, that's why I asked to have this, you guys look at this ordinance and pass it tonight, potentially on an emergency, simply because with all the extra traffic through town, 117 being detoured through town, there have been 2 semis so far that have turned right at the intersection to head west. One of our guys was there to stop the semi as it was rubbing up against a telephone pole that holds our stoplights up. The other one, there was a passerby that stopped that semi with the same company, different driver. So hopefully nothing happens, but something surely could happen in the time frame of all these detours through town. Even without the detours, I feel we should have something in writing saying that if they're at fault, whether it's through their insurance or whether they decide to pay it themselves, to have something on the books with that. I know Jeff, we made the ordinance up center of Jeff, you did a couple changes on it, we changed those, and then the price sheet that is with that, again, those are just numbers that are hopefully inflated, not too much, but enough that we don't have to change it every year. Those are things that I will look at least once a year to make sure that things are in line. But I think it's important to cover the town because what we don't want to have is $100,000 of damage and no leg to stand on, and then say, hey, you guys didn't have anything in writing saying that, what we damaged is worth this.
What if you don't touch the person?
But at that point, then, we have to take it on the chin. If it's a big ticket item, we would use our insurance for that. There was an instance 10 days ago, semi turned down Cleveland Street and did some property damage. There was nothing on the village's end of it, but there was folks that had cameras on their houses that actually videoed the semi. So with Nathan's work and the homeowners, they were able to find out what trucking company it was. Nathan did his due diligence and found out how to get a hold of them and has been in touch with those folks. So, yes, you don't always see everybody, but Everybody's got a camera on their hip or in
You
their mouth.
answered what I thought.
Does it matter, Aaron, when I look at the village cost for damage reimbursement, the fee structure, I think about what we charge, and this is just, again, me trying to think of whatever issues we might run into. We charge, I believe, and Nathan, you may know this better, or Aaron, what do we charge when we mow somebody's grass?
It's $250, $200.
$200 an hour, minimum 1 hour, plus $5 a gallon in fuel, minimum 1 gallon, so
So-
$205 per hour.
So this is cheaper.
And the reason that that's inflated, we don't want to be in the lawnmower business.
I know.
We don't want to take advantage of somebody on.
I'm not questioning that. I'm questioning, is it okay to have two different fee structures like that, since we're now putting this in place?
I would just say be consistent across the board.
That's my point, is I think having two separate fee structures may cause us a problem. So it's something to think about.
And my suggestion on this is in section 3 of the ordinance, where you list the cost shall be determined at the current rate, I would just put as attached as exhibit A, put this as exhibit A, because this isn't attached to this ordinance. So if you pass this ordinance, this isn't law. So if you attach it as an exhibit, then it becomes the law. And these are our fees and stuff like that.
So in 3 years, does that ordinance have to be changed? Because the prices are different?
You just amend it.
Okay.
You just amend the rate schedule, is all that you would have to do.
Yeah.
Be similar to what our payroll ordinance used to be, or is existing, I'm not sure.
So to speak on the lawn mowing fee, when that, I'm going back in my memory banks, but when that amount was determined, the idea was it would be 2 employees that would be mowing the property. Sometimes it takes 2 employees, sometimes it only takes 1, plus the equipment, the wear and tear on the equipment. That's how they arrived at that $200 per hour. And that's an enforcement. Now certainly some way you could also get a citation on top of that, but typically we haven't done that because if they get a $600 bill because it took 3 hours to mow the lawn, $150 ticket, not anything in addition to that. So that's why the $200, that's how the $200 came about.
So you've got hourly and employee rates plus the equipment rates. So if you look at here, it would be $165 if you just use one person to mow the lawn. So if you factor in a second person, it's actually $225 to mow the lawn.
I just asked the question because we're gonna need, if this is our fee structure, then I think it needs to be our fee structure for everything, right?
Well, this is for damage reimbursement.
Yeah,
This isn't
It's
mowing
two
charges.
different things.
Yeah.
No, I know, but I'm asking Jeff if we should have two separate fee structures.
You can, I mean, is the mowing listed somewhere, what we charge? If that's listed as a separate ordinance, then this should be fine in this ordinance.
That was my question. I wanna make sure we're not creating more headaches than we need.
No, but I totally agree, just be as consistent as you can. But with Nathan's explanation, this kind of matches that explanation for how they came to the lawn mowing fee schedule.
So are we good with keeping the fee structure the way it is, or do we want to do something different with it?
That's what you think it is.
We could probably keep it 2 or 3 years and then we can always amend it and change it, upgrade it. That's how wages goes up.
Yeah, I think of today's date and time, that's they're realistic. You know, I say, keep them like it is, like you said, for 3 years, and if stuff goes up, right?
Right. Okay.
We'll do it in a new business area.
Okay, all right. No problem. Moving on to the water and sewer, took the annual lead and copper samples. They're taking waiting on results for those. Traditionally, we're fine with putting additives in the water to keep it in suspension, keeping the lines coated. It's an EPA standard. One thing that hasn't been done in a long time if you go so many years under a certain level, you can ask for triannual.
Mhm.
And if our results come back this year, as they have in the past, it's a process, but I think it's well worth it because it's 10 samples at $50 a sample. So it's a savings in the town. So once I get those back, I'll go into have a conversation with UK on that. Overflow lagoons, the lift station, all that main work is done. The pipes are over to the first pond. The only thing that we're waiting on is a set of steps being built and a handrail around that, and then a grading. So when you lift the lid to take samples, it's safe for everyone to do that. So that's in the fab shop to be completed. West Walpole Street, paving, done.
It looks beautiful, by the way,
I-
except for the tree lawns.
Yes, I'll get to that portion. I've drove every road. Luckily, it's always good when you get a new pavement done and you have a rain shortly thereafter. The next morning it rained, and I drove all the roads, and there's one pickup, and it's down at our shop by the fuel tanks, and it's where the transition is from the old pavement to the new pavement. I've talked to the engineer and Deegan about that. They're going to look into that, but all the other streets, they ride great. Again, I think they look good. I think it was a great idea on council's part for when we widened the park entrance to go ahead and pave that the way it is. I think it makes it look sharp. So, again, the paving's done. The final grading on the tree lawn and the tile through the park, mid-September is the time frame that they want to come in. Before that, 10 days, 2 weeks before that, they'll come in and spray, get everything killed. That way they can remove all the vegetation, the dead vegetation, get everything prepped and get it seeded, and hopefully we don't have a dry September since we've had a really nice growing season so far.
Is part of the prep getting rid of all the big rocks that
Yes.
are in here?
Yep.
Because I've had a couple of residents ask me that.
Yeah.
And then the other question that residents had, is there any time that the guys could go down with weed eaters and chop some of that down? It's just almost impossible for residents to get some of that vegetation. It's really bad.
Yeah. I know there was a resident in town today that was concerned about that, and she didn't realize that she could go ahead and do that
Mhm.
herself, and I know I drove by and they were working on it. So,
Takes a lot of strength to cut all that down, but
you know,
that's fine. I just thought I got,
I think,
I had that question asked.
you know, I think what we should do is let them spray it, and then as it's dying down, it'd be a lot easier if nothing else, just to pull them off. And I think at that point, it should be able to prove to the contractors and to make it presentable. Because all that stuff has to leave anyhow.
Right.
So it's easier, we all know that pull weeds, it's easier to pull a 3-foot weed than it is a stump that's 6 inches off the ground.
I just told the resident I'd ask.
Absolutely.
So whatever you can do
Yep.
would be greatly appreciated.
Okay.
Are there lines going to be painted on it?
Yes, yep, so that's the other thing, we are on the line, the stripers schedule. So when they do that, they will come in and paint West Walpole, obviously, and then they'll do all 4 crosswalks and stop bars at the stoplight, and they're going to paint the double yellow line out southwest Minster. It's been some time since that's been touched up with their type of paint, so we are on schedule for that, just waiting on a date for that, but they'll be in and out.
I was kind of wondering who even did that.
It'll be a subcontractor of they'll call them and get a hold of them. Water tower, I talked to the painters today. The inside was blasted, and they got the primer on over the weekend, and they come down to the shop and grab the rest of the paint. Inside will be painted today, tomorrow, maybe Wednesday, but they're going to start probably tomorrow power washing the outside of the tank, and then start work for the outside paint. So it'll, I'm hoping if weather works with everybody and their schedule, like 10 days from now, we've got a painted tower, and shortly after that, we can start slowly filling back up. Other than that, the only other thing was the Wayne Street power outage, and I talked to Jeff about that. I think there's a couple things that we need to look into there before we can need to make a decision on that. So, other than that, anybody have any questions for me? That's all I have.
Mayor's report, there was $837 deposited into the general fund, the mayor's court account for the month of June. Okay, old business.
I do have, one of the questions that came up at last council's meeting and has come up repeatedly is a profit and loss statement. And Sarah reached out to me after the council meeting and gave me a yearly financial comparison by fund, and then she updated this as of the 2nd of this month. So I made enough copies for the members of council. It's kind of small, but it very succinctly tells you what our balances are annually, what our actual expenses were annually, and then what our total profit or loss was annually since 2018. And one of the things that I would like the Finance Committee and everyone to look at is that our general fund has lost money every year. Has spent more money than it's brought in every year since 2018, except at this point this year, but this isn't the final for 2023. I think that's important to look at. Our water enterprise, I know Aaron has talked repeatedly about our water rates. Our water enterprise fund has lost money three out of the last 5 years. Our sewer enterprise has lost money 3 out of the last 5 years. I feel like this is important information for council to have, and for us to really be scrutinizing what we're doing, not only with our rates, but with our spending. So I want to thank Sarah for providing me this information. I hope that council finds it informative as we move forward into our appropriations time of the year. Thank you.
I just want everyone to know that we are having a finance meeting as well, and information and other things will be provided, and we'll talk about that further. So within that next meeting, we will have more of understanding to explain to the rest of the council.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. This was not an easy document to create, and I appreciate your hard work on that. Thank you.
Let's do the third reading of the interconnection agreement between the village of Waynesfield, Douglas County, Ohio, and customer project owner.
I believe the mayor's asking for a motion for the third reading of the interconnection agreement between the village of Waynesfield and the county. So he's asking for a motion.
I'll make a motion to do the third reading of the interconnection agreement between the village of Waynesfield, Douglas County, and customer project owner.
Get a second.
Yes. Aaron, I guess I have a question.
Yeah.
I know there was discussion, and I think in your report you talked about it, and I apologize, I didn't get a chance to relook at that, but when we talked about the pay, there was nothing in there other than they would get a certain amount of credit for 12 months.
Correct.
And after 12 months, that would go away.
It resets.
And that was the way we wanted to be.
Yeah.
Thank you. Somebody second it.
Sorry,
Yeah,
you're
Tom
in
did.
second.
I think I got it for you.
I got one.
Ball. Yes. Walke.
Yes.
Hudson.
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Fox.
Yes.
Nichols.
Yes.
Any other old business? Okay, let's go to new business.
Is this ordinance 23-8-1, Sarah, is that the number?
Yeah.
And make a motion, we adopt ordinance 23-8-1. ordinance, oh, wait a minute, let's back up. Do you want to do it as an emergency? The council needs to decide, do they want to do it as an emergency?
Are we talking about
I think we should.
are we amending?
The damage cost.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm just,
sooner the better,
I'm just afraid if we don't, with the traffic we have, we could, I feel a lot better at night, knowing we have something to stand on.
Because 117, how long is that?
6 months,
50 days.
6 months, yeah, 5.5 months.
I mean, anything can happen truthfully, because I brought this up in Monitor, I had a lady jump the curb and take my mailbox out. The semis turned the corner down there, I mean, they have no room, so, and stuff like this, with the emergency damages and stuff, you're gonna need, I mean, it's,
Nothing has anything to do with this, but Nathan, from a law enforcement perspective, are semis allowed to deviate from the legal detour?
So, the short answer is yes.
Okay.
The short answer is yes. Now, if they create damage, if they create property damage along the lines, because I know several of the back roads, I know in Auglaize Township, which is the Westminster area, if you go down Phillips Road, every road that intersects with Phillips has a road closed sign on it for local traffic. If a semi's caught going down there, then they can be ticketed. But if it's not posted, then, you know, if a semi can fit down through there, then they can go. But, yes, they can deviate. The state sets up that route so, so people can get around safely, but they can't deviate.
There's been more than one incident on McMarron.
Oh, yeah.
Mother-in-law was there.
Oh, yeah.
And they said there was a Swift truck with 2 tow trucks trying to figure out how they were going to get it backed up, turned around, and going the right way.
They've got off of Amherst onto Schooler. That intersection's bad right there. Why they would go on Amherst?
I think the first day they had a power pole hit.
They did, yeah. It's been, they must not have enough road closed signs for that.
Well, yeah.
It's,
I worry about, and I don't think there's anything we can do about it, but, you know, if they keep jumping the curb, the damage to our sidewalks, and to our curbs, and our new roads, and,
Well,
you know.
we, as Aaron mentioned earlier, we had a semi that took the detour and he thought he was gonna take a shortcut, missed the stoplight, went up to Copeland Street, got hung up on the road across the sidewalk in your area, and then went into the business and tore up a fence, and I mean, it was just a nightmare because he was trying to get back to 196 so he could go north, and his GPS took him to the next road, which turns into an alley, so it wasn't near wide enough for the semi to go through, and it just created a big mess, so.
I just saw Aaron did it.
Not that day.
Is there any, this is probably, again, a stupid question, but is there any kind of barriers that we could put up on those curbs?
it's not gonna save you. I mean, they'll take out pole, the barrier ain't gonna do nothing.
You give them 10 foot, they need 15.
I'll use, back, it was actually the first traffic ticket I ever wrote as a police officer was when Armentrout Funeral Home was located at the square where the flower shop then became, he had the village had a big concrete flower pot.
I remember
that.
that.
Yeah. And a Schneider truck ran right over it and broke it into pieces, and that was actually the first ticket I ever wrote. So they're gonna hit it. You get, you know, there may be 100 trucks that come through here in a week, and 95 of them make nice turns to where they don't go over the sidewalk, and then you get 5 that nearly take out a pole when they make the turn. So it's going to continue to happen.
Well, I would make a motion that we suspend the rules of 3 readings and declare an emergency to adopt ordinance 23-8-1, ordinance for compensation from damage to village property for the village of Waynesfield, Ohio.
I second. Ball?
Yes.
Walty?
Yes.
Hudson?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Fox?
Yes.
Nichols?
Yes. You ready, sir?
Sorry?
Are you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I make a motion that we adopt ordinance 23-8-1, an ordinance for the compensation from damage to the village property. And that it include, do I have to say this, Jeff, include the We're good, okay.
No, because we need to change the wording,
Mhm.
under section 3, just to put, you know, rates are attached as exhibit A, and then just put exhibit A on it. So it's in the
Okay, so as part of my motion then, that we adopt ordinance 23-8-1 with the correction in section 3 to indicate rates as indicated in exhibit A. Is that correct?
Second.
Ball? Yes. Walty?
Yes.
Hudson?
Yes.
Miller?
Okay.
Miller?
Yes.
Fox?
Yes.
Nichols?
Yes. So I would make a motion that we suspend the rules of 3 readings and declare an emergency to adopt ordinance 23-8-2, an ordinance to amend appropriation, oh, wait a minute, is that where we're at, sir? I guess that's where we're at. To amend appropriation ordinance 22-11-1, which we would move funds in the amount of $9,000 from general fund account 725-221, physical medical hospitalization, and transfer it to other personnel services.
The second.
Ball?
Yes.
Walty?
Yes.
Hudson?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Fox?
Yes.
Nichols?
I make a motion to adopt ordinance 23-8-2, an ordinance to amend appropriations ordinance 22-11-1, as stated earlier.
I'll second, yeah.
Ball?
We just adopted it.
Okay,
First
yeah.
was emergency, nothing.
Why are we doing it?
Walty?
Yes.
Hudson?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Fox?
Yes.
Nichols?
Yes. Is this also an ordinance then, Sarah, or is this just an approval
Sorry.
on the tax rates? Is that an ordinance, or is it
It's
just
a resolution?
a resolution?
Yes, I think we do this every year.
I just didn't know if it was an ordinance or a resolution. This would be, at the top, I'm sorry, resolution, 23-8-1.
Yes.
Do we have to declare an emergency?
She wants it back by the 31st.
All right, so make a motion that we declare an emergency and suspend the rule of 3 readings to adopt resolution 23-8-1, resolution accepting the amounts of rates as determined by the Budget Commission and authorizing necessary tax levies and certifying them to the county auditor.
I'll second that.
Ball? Yes. Walty?
Yes.
Hudson?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Fox?
Yes.
Nichols?
Yes. So I make a motion that we adopt resolution 23-8-1, resolution accepting the amounts and rates as determined by the Budget Commission and authorizing the necessary tax levies and certifying them to the county auditor.
Second.
Ball? Yes. Walty?
Yes.
Hudson?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Fox?
Yes.
Nichols?
Yes.
All right. As committees go, Bert Fox will be taking Jesselyn's place on all her committees. Any other new business?
I do have a question, as this is like our last resort, guys, for the birthday celebration. Tim said we could do something at homecoming, and he talked about parade. Could we have a tractor pull a trailer and let's all be dressed up in old fashioned or do something,
What date is that, Nathan?
Yeah, it's,
28th.
September the 28th is the parade at 6:30 PM.
I mean, I'm used to doing a float where you put lots and lots of stuff to it, but we wouldn't have to
That's a lot
do that.
to work.
We could just put like bales of straw on it and just be dressed up in old fashioned clothes and put a Waynesfield sign on it or something. But the council could be on there and like representing the village and,
This is for, okay.
come on guys, we can dress.
This homecoming parade, that was coming up
Yeah.
September 28th?
September 28th, 6:30 PM.
You have access to, what material, I mean, as far as the wagon, the truck?
Well,
I have-
I'm opening it up, so.
I have a wagon and I've got plenty of straw. Be more than happy to.
And maybe if
Let
anybody,
it borrow.
Too much.
You gonna
and
drive
maybe
in?
if somebody has some old
You gonna drive the
fashioned
truck?
things,
Let me put them
That-
directing traffic.
like a spinning wheel or the big old pots that they cooked in or something, you know, to elaborate on the fact that we're celebrating old. So we got the crackers, we got the trailer. Come on, guys, what do you think?
I have nothing old, sorry, I have nothing old.
Well, you just wear a shirt, I don't know.
Just put a bow tie on.
I guess you wouldn't have to have everybody dress old fashioned because we're talking about
Yeah, but why don't we make it
175
easy? Because I agree with Tom, trying to come up with costumes would be
I mean,
good.
I've got an old floppy hat, I mean, I
Yeah, I
don't know
mean,
anyway.
we could just dress
We got it
professionally and
built
have
in.
a sign.
Yeah.
Well, if we had some, props that were old fashioned, we wanna show a time difference of the 175 years. I mean, I could make
You know,
something
that's
for
a lot of
myself.
gray hair around here, we all look old.
I'm close to it.
Thanks.
But what do you think?
And me included.
Does anybody have like old memorabilia, I don't know, what do you call it? Anything old, like an old rake that they did pay with back then, or?
Get the old jail cell. That's gonna be heavy though on a trailer.
You find a lot at the thrift
Antique
store.
radios and then beat up typewriters, that's about all I got.
Always stuff there.
Anybody willing to be a part of it?
I can certainly be on, I mean, that's,
Okay, great, we got one person. Come on, who else?
I can.
Aaron, you're driving the tractor.
Okay, can we get a truck?
That's fine, whatever it takes.
I mean, I can write on the float, I just don't have time to commit to.
That's all I want. You know, but strong, if you got something old fashioned, I would really like to have some
All I
props.
got so fashioned is this face and this hair. And that's as old as it gets.
Well, if you know anybody that has some old things, antique things, that they would let us borrow.
My dad's gone all over.
That would just add to it.
Then we have to be responsible for them, old people's old days, geez.
Be responsible for this old person on that float.
But at least we're
I'm not
even if,
responsible for such
I do have an aunt,
even if we aren't dressed, this time, we're
Say
representing
we
the
need
village.
seatbelts, so you
I
know.
do have an antique horse with the rigger roller on top.
That would look nice, I mean,
I mean,
Do we have to buy?
might have to hang on to it if he's gonna break that.
I've never seen it drive, so.
I'm not throwing candy.
Are we up to it, Aaron?
I have no problem offering a wagon with straw.
And you said it starts at what?
Either 6
Either
or 6:30, we've got the permit. It's either 6 or 6:30, I'll confirm with the permit.
I'll call Tim and tell him tomorrow that we're going to, decide what time we start together. And where they're gonna put us in this
It
thing.
might be something you, wherever it's gonna be decorated at, I can drop it off a couple days prior to, whether it's been, you know, I have all,
I don't know, maybe the straw, but we do need a sign. Maybe borrow one of the signs.
Yeah.
Sure, if you were planning to bring.
I thought it was during the day.
So are you planning on throwing candy at people too then, or what?
I'm buying it, that's fine. I mean, I don't know what the village is willing to put out for
I
that.
personally will not be throwing candy because I believe it's liable. I've known people who've gotten hit with pieces of candy and ended up with black eyes. I'm serious. And a lot of it was younger kids throwing it really hard. And there's that, but I won't be throwing anything off the field.
So there's your answer.
So, and that's one of the reasons why we have these permits that have to be filled out, because the school is, saying that they've got proof of liability insurance, up to $500,000, that type of thing. According to the permit, they, I believe the parade, at least the lineup starts at 6 p.m. The permit's good from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. I was gonna double check on their website to see if they had it listed, but I can report that later in the meeting.
You're gonna talk to Tim?
No, you'll need, if you want in the parade, you'll need to do that.
Do I need to do paperwork or something?
No, because the school this covers everybody in the parade. But if you want to be part of the parade, they may have a form in order to put you in the lineup. I don't know about that.
What date in September is that?
September the 28th,
What day, is that a Friday?
so Thursday,
Thursday?
because the homecoming football game's on Friday.
You went to school, didn't you?
Yeah,
Okay, that-
but,
they
you
still
know,
doing the power
tonight I'm,
talking?
it's
Yeah.
sundowners, come on. Rain's gonna get the fun.
Now, I understand Lisa don't want to throw candy, but I think, because the other trailers do, and the kids really like it. And I think,
Even if you
If
just drop it
Bill
on the
I
ground.
mean, I understand, I fully
You
understand.
gotta get it away from the float, but you
Yeah.
don't have to. So
Yeah.
the next
But,
year, I understand, I've
I
been
just-
hit before too.
But I think if we're going
My
trailer
neighbor
for my
ended up
town,
with
it's not gonna look good.
literally
I
black eye like
agree.
this.
That's the one thing during the parade.
Yeah, and I know my grandkids.
Some kids love the candy, yeah.
So is that something the village is willing to hand out some money?
I'm willing to provide that.
I'll give you a couple.
I'd say if we're gonna ride around, we can bring our own candy.
I'm willing
Okay,
to
so you're
provide
gonna bring
Yeah,
your
I mean, you can buy big bags.
BYC.
The other option, if you don't want to throw candy from the float, you could always have someone or one person on each side and walk.
Walk.
Some
It's a good idea.
opt to do that as well.
That's a good idea. I would do that. I would walk
Yeah,
it
that's
out.
a good idea.
Yeah, thank you, Nate.
Can we be right behind the squad? so
Can you keep up?
You gotta eat out.
Meet up.
Well, me not making
Me.
And remember, this parade goes down to Coyote's Bar and turns around and comes back. So if you're gonna throw candy, the kids expect candy both ways.
Yeah.
Too bad.
Like Halloween,
Right after that.
ladies, pre-Halloween.
Oh, it's
All right, any other new business? Solicitor's report,
I've got nothing.
okay, entertain a motion to adjourn,
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
second.
Second.
Ball,
Or-
Yes.
Wolfie,
Yes.
Hudson,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Nothing new.
Yes.
Nixon.
Yeah.
I don't know who it was.